those your kids?
Yeah.
Well, those are your kids. John Legend's at the Apollo Theater there, performing with the Harlem Village Academy's Choir, a group of New York City charter schools I visited in October, that's setting the bar for students and teachers everywhere with 100% of its students. Listen to this. 100% of its students are now proficient in math and sciences.
Amazing story.
Far above the national average. And if you knew how they came into that school,
right.
If you saw the chart to see that many of them in 4th grade didn't even have 1st grade proficiencies, the change in 3 to 4 years, remarkable.
Exactly.
An education miracle. But now, according to the New York Post, lawmakers in Albany, the New York legislature missed a crucial deadline to win up to $700 million in education funding that Barack Obama wanted to give to New York State. A misstep that will likely cause schools all over New York. So we're here with Grammy Award-winning singer and songwriter John Legend and Dr. Deborah Kinney, founder and chief executive of the Harlem Village Academies. And John, I was saying before, I've seen a lot of things, both in and out of Congress, where I thought, well, maybe this will make America a little bit better.
Yeah.
This, what I saw in Harlem, is the single most hopeful thing.
Yeah.
Why did you get involved in that?
I got involved because I visited the school. I saw what they were doing. I saw the data that showed how, the same kind of data you saw, where they started off coming from families that were just like all the rest of the families in Harlem. The families were struggling, the prospects for the kids weren't great. But then they got to this school, they were educated in the right way, they were educated in a way that was passionate about teaching, passionate about using data to make sure we were getting the right results for the kids.
Those young teachers in there, so passionate about the kids.
And it's working. I love to see things that work because it makes me hopeful, because I'm like, you know, how can we solve this problem? There's a persistent underclass in America that it's hard for them to escape, and I see the way out with schools like this.
They come in, and first of all, for your school, Deborah,
right.
What people don't realize is, because I asked, well, what kids get to come here?
It's a lottery.
And it's a lottery. And you guys go out in the streets of Harlem saying, would you like your kid to come to this school?
Right.
It's a random sample. It's not based on, you know, merit. They're not getting there because they're the smartest kids.
Which shows the formula works. Which shows the formula and the framework and the structure that you provide for them, which is really basic, works.
Well, this is great. So my question is, why would New York legislators try to kill charter schools like this and tell Barack Obama to go to hell and keep us $700 million?
We don't need your money. We like the status quo the way it is. That's what the New York legislature said last night.
Why, Deborah?
God
Why?
only knows.
Explain.
We can't figure it out.
Come on, it's a teachers' union.
You know what?
Well, let's just admit it. Why don't we just tell the truth here? The teachers' union are scared of schools in Harlem like yours, like the one that John's a part of. John, that's it, isn't it? Because it's competition. Because they're getting it right.
It's not just competition, it's accountability. It's holding schools and teachers accountable for the results of their students, which should be the only measure that we care about, is how are our students progressing. And if they're not making progress, then we've got to do something to shake the formula up.
By the way, John, I saw you perform at the president's inauguration. I'm sure you're a big supporter of his because of that. But this isn't a Democratic or a Republican issue.
In fact, in a lot of ways, I feel like Democrats and conservatives can come together on this issue because it covers a lot of the bases that both sides like. When it comes to accountability and competition, I think a lot of Republicans like that. And when it comes to helping poor kids, that's what Democrats should be all about in the first place.
I wonder who could go into a school like this and not leave going, we have got to help these kids, the truly disadvantaged, because the amazing thing is, you saw the same charts I saw. They come in there, they're 3 or 4 years behind in 4th grade, and when they leave, they're doing better than most rich suburban schools in Connecticut or New Jersey. It's amazing.
And let's be clear, you know, there are charter schools all over the country. Not all of them are as great as Deborah's school, but what we should be trying to do is use the examples of greatness, use the examples of excellence, and try to replicate some of that throughout.
Willie, your mom also works up in Harlem at a charter school.
Harlem Academy.
Right.
When I visited your school recently, Deborah, The thing that struck me was part of your process is getting the behavior part right first, so that you can clear a path and then begin teaching. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, so here's what I think people miss when we talk about accountability, because the behavior system is one example of a whole bunch of systems that we've been able to enact in our school that bring out the best in kids. But what we can do as a charter, and what President Obama is trying to do for all schools, because this isn't just about charters, this is about all public schools in our country, is we are given the autonomy to run the school as we see fit. And then, because of that, we're held accountable at the end of the day for results.
So if you are put in charge of a school and you fail, Deborah, you get fired.
And so
if
should
your teacher fails, the teacher gets fired. And it's about students. It's about kids. And in this case, it is about the truly disadvantaged.
You know what? One of the things about accountability that I think people don't understand is it actually attracts great teachers, and when the teachers are in the school with other teachers who are also passionate about learning, then we pass on that freedom that we receive as a charter, we pass it on to our teachers. So we give our teachers freedom and autonomy to teach as they see fit. It's giving teachers respect that they deserve, because you know, they're professionals. When you give somebody freedom, that unleashes their passion, and then they teach in a highly effective manner. They find solutions.
I think a lot of times we get caught up in talking about firing people. I think it's not really about being able to fire them, because you do want to fire the ones that aren't performing well, but it's about empowering effective teachers to do their job.
It's an overall formula that works, and we're sold on that. So here's the question, given the fact that we are going to have Randy Weingarten on in a week, and we're going to hear from the teachers.
Head of the NEA.
Why in the world would money be left on the table? Aaron,
what
I don't understand. I want to know why you think either of you take it. Go
$700 million in a recession.
Right. That's right.
What's your gut?
Don't give us nearly $1 billion for our schools.
People are afraid of competition, and the real reason is because people aren't putting kids first. End of story. Right now, people are putting special interests above the interests of the kids. And that's why $700 million has been lost. It's a sad day for New York.
It's a sad day for America. It's a sad day for education reform. It's a sad day for all the problems we face, because when you solve this problem, you solve more of the crime problem, you solve all kinds of other problems when you make sure that these kids are not way behind when they get out of 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, and they actually graduate and are able to get a job. It makes a big difference in society. So it's a sad day for all of us.
And you talked before about the separation between the rich and the poor. 40 million Americans in poverty right now. And you ask, how do we take care of the poor? Will the poor always be with us? But again, I just want to say, by the time these kids leave 8th grade at a school like this, they're empowered.
They're on their way to college.
They're empowered. They will. If you have 100% proficiency in this school, guess what? And again, when I left the school, it was so exciting, because I said, my God, this may not be a generational battle. If you can turn kids around in a school up in Harlem, and by a random selection, by handing out invitations to this school, if you can do that in 3 years, that's a revolution.
So
that can happen.
And
if it can happen in Harlem, it can happen across
every single school in America, this can happen. And so this is why when President Obama and Secretary Duncan say that in order to qualify for this money, you have to improve your charter law, it's not because they want a small sample of charter schools in every state.
No.
It's because the charter is the model for what all schools should do. All schools in the entire country should be given the autonomy and then held accountable. And if that's the way all schools run, now that threatens the status quo, as John said, but if that's the way all schools run, then everybody can come and learn from what we do and can actually apply it. Now, right now, if somebody else were to come to me and say, we want to achieve 92% passing in reading and 96% in science, and we want to get what you got, how can we do it? If I were to lay out for them exactly what to do, which, we get visitors from all over the world, most schools would not be allowed to do what we do.
Right.
So, for example, when we see a problem on a Friday, we get together with our teachers, we come up with a solution, we implement it on Monday.
And you don't have to talk to a
Let me show you how we use.
bureaucracy.
This is how we use data. So here's the names of all the students. Here's a test they took, which our kids know that the tests help them. So they took this test, and every standard, green means 80% or above, red means you failed. The teacher then, the next week, okay, this kid is going to have tutoring in this subject because he didn't learn this one thing. Oh, you know what? I'm going to take these 4 kids after lunch and grab them, and we have the freedom to do whatever we want.
Well, why can't other people do it?
You can't do it in public schools.
You
Because
can't.
they're not allowed to use their time the way they want to use it. It's all monitored, and there's no autonomy.
What's going to happen with this money? Is it gone?
Can it come back?
gone?
Is there any way New York can get
There's
the
a
money
second
back?
phase.
There's
You
a
can
second
reapply.
phase.
Tell us about it, John.
And next year, they're actually, the president just announced they're going to put more money into the program and make it so that district by district they can apply as well, not be subject to the state
that's
legislature.
great.
So that makes it more possible for the districts that really want to do the right thing to be able to do it.
Oh,
All right, we're going to have you guys on the radio, WABC Radio. Or
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
WABCRadio.com.
All right.
John
It's just right across the hall. I didn't know it either. But I
Dr.
can't wait.
Deborah Kenny, thank you very much.